the 4th annual big game between the Cougars of Clovis High and the Golden Eagles of Clovis West. This exclusive cablecast is being brought to you in part by the Clovis Community Bank, C.W. Smith Optical, Clovis Horse Merchants, the Clovis Independent, Clovis Community Hospital, Herb Bauer, the Mean Machines, and Cutler Television and Appliance. Jim Fugman, as former coach of Clovis, Edison, and Bullard High Schools. Jim Fugman, I'm talking to you now. We're on camera, so I'm going to hit you with a couple of questions. Last year, Clovis West came into this game against the heavily favored Clovis Cougars. It turned out just the opposite from what most people thought. 29-8 in favor of the team from Clovis West. This year, the quarterback is the same. Can it be the same kind of a result?
Well, this is really a pick-em game, Frank. Both these teams really haven't played consistent this year, but when you get a game of this magnitude, the psychological aspects of the game, of course, weigh very heavy, and I think that this year, possibly Clovis High School could have that edge. Last year, that edge was at Clovis with Clovis West. They were the little kid on the block. Now they have an equal footing with the Cougars, and I'm expecting, like you said, a shootout tonight.
One of these teams has a top defense against the rush. The other, if I'm not mistaken, Clovis High School's Cougars has the great running attack. What happens when the immovable object meets the great rushing attack?
Well, usually its defense will have an advantage in that case. However, in a wishbone offense, which is a finesse offense, the Cougars will be able to run the ball against the Eagles' 9-man front, but how well will depend probably on the effectiveness of the Cougar passing game.
You know, I had the opportunity of talking to Tim Simons, the Clovis Cougar coach, and also to Max Newberry. They both were very, very definite about one thing. We did a couple of interviews with them and had our camera with us, and they said, okay, but don't take any shots of the offense in action. So they have something secret coming up.
This is the type of a game, Frank, that you know there's nothing to hold back. If you've got any tricks up your sleeve, you want to use them. This is for bragging rights of Clovis. It's a very important game. It's a very important game in the NYL standings. Each of these teams are still in the race. If they win, they still have a chance for the possible championship and to be in the playoffs.
This is a tremendous setting. It is, of course, as you might expect, and as you have known over the years, since Clovis West has been part of the community, it has been a sellout here at the Clovis West Clovis High School game. And this is, of course, one of the main reasons why Fresno Community Cable, with the help of the Clovis Unified School District, is here with cameras and microphones, and you and I sitting up here on a perch, and we're just going to have a wonderful time. It's a show. It is an extravaganza. I wish I knew the choreographers, because they have done a tremendous job. Look at those bands. Did you expect something like this?
Well, you always do at this particular game. The student bodies, of course, are very excited about this. And really, this game is a manifestation of Dr. Floyd Buchanan's dream and really his personal philosophy. Everything is channeled into the activities of the game. There are no extracurricular activities that happen outside of this. He really believes that kids get into the game, they'll enjoy the game. The bands are terrific, the pep groups are terrific, the community supports it, and therefore you can have this intense competition, yet you can still be friendly rivals.
And Jim, the field is in perfect shape from what I can see here with the two bands, of course, Clovis in the blue and gold and Clovis West in the red. They have, it seems to me, the USC colors, isn't the Trojan color?
All right, our superintendent, our associate superintendent, Dr. Peter G. Meas, of course, is a graduate of the University of Southern California, and I think he had a lot to do with the colors of Clovis West. And really, there isn't too many schools in the area that are cardinal and gold.
This field is very fast. Does that mean that we will have some speed outside the flanks?
The field is good, Frank. We had a Pop Warner game played on it last Saturday during the rain, but we've raked it and rolled it. It's firm. It's a little worn in the middle, but we're going to have a fast turf, and it's certainly going to be very conducive for exciting game.
Jim, Clovis West won the junior varsity game by a score of 7-6. A fumble, a missed conversion when they went for 2 points. Was that a surprise to you?
Well, that was a big surprise. The Cougar JV team was 7-0, undefeated, and of course the Clovis West Eagle JV team has been struggling with a 4-3 season. But in a game like this, Frank, you can throw the records out. Emotion has a lot to do with the outcome of this game. Emotion and mistakes will probably be the key of this varsity game.
We were talking a little bit about Jeff Peterson, how he, not single-handedly, but had a lot to do with the victory of Clovis West last year, the first time they had beaten the Clovis Cougars. They are comparatively new to the sports. What was it, their third or fourth year last year?
This is Jeff's third year.
This is Jeff's third year, and the school's fourth year in competition?
Fifth year.
Fifth. Now
the fourth in the NYL.
I see. Now I'm straightened out. Okay, now against Jeff Peterson is this good-looking quarterback named John Larius.
Well, we really have a confrontation of quarterbacks. We have two of the best athletes in the league, John Larios and Jeff Peterson, and I'm looking forward to this matchup. John Larios, of course, is one of the leading scorers and one of the leading passers, and
here is
just an outstanding player.
The national anthem. All right, the bands, as you notice, are leaving the field in this pre-game galaxy at La Monica Field, where the Clovis West football team is to play Clovis High. And is that E.T. or is that our director? I don't know. He looks a little bit like the guy in the van downstairs.
Sure does, Frank. The signs and the decorations, a lot of work goes into this game by a lot of people. Just terrific, and this kind of typifies, I think, high school football at its best. It's really football America here in Clovis tonight.
These signs are amazing. Have they taken a lot of time off from their regular school?
Well, the pep groups paint these things. Some art service classes paint them. It's really a total effort from the student body and the players to get ready for a game like this.
And what about the practice sessions? Have they been intense? Has there been any physical injuries?
Talking to Coach Simons and Coach Newberry, they've had, of course, their best practice sessions of the year. They've been spirited. This is the game that they all look forward to. All the kids want an opportunity to play in a game of this magnitude, and of course they're going to get a chance to do that tonight.
I know that you coach the three schools, Clovis, Edison, and the Bullard High schools, and I guess when the traditional rivalry game comes on such as this, it's something that they're going to carry into their lives, won't it?
Definitely. You can remember the big football games of your life and the big plays, and this will always be something that students and athletes will remember.
Now we know who the quarterbacks will be. John Larius for Clovis. He has had a successful season. Jeff Peterson has shown indications that he might want to step back into the role that he achieved last year, the upsetting of Clovis High School's Cougars. But there certainly are a lot of other guys on these football teams, and they have some great credentials too. So Jim, you've got it out there in front of you. You've been at the practice sessions more than I have. As a matter of fact, you know a lot of these guys and coaches intimately. Why don't you come up with the Clovis Cougars offensive lineup for this game?
Fine, Frank. Pleasure to do that. First of all, starting at split end for the Cougars will be their very fine split end Brian Rogers at 6 foot, 170 pounds, and he's a senior. At left tackle will be John McCreary, 6'2", 195 pounds, a senior. At left guard, at 6'2", 238 pounds, a junior, Rob Michael. At center, 6'2", 210 pounds, Pat Neves. At right guard, 6'3", 245 pounds, John Katsaris, fine football player, certainly a major college prospect. At right tackle is 5'10", 190-pound junior Craig Large. And at tight end this evening will be 5'9", 175-pound Lorenzo Barboza.
Now here come the seniors. We might go back on the starting lineup, but here come the seniors, Jim.
Cougars are bringing their seniors in, which is a traditional activity for both games. Bill Shepard, number 5, coming in. Kevin Baldridge, number 33. Mike Galletta, number 31. John Papaleo, the fine, strong safety. Steve Semino, number 48. Rod Yamamoto, the starting inside linebacker. And Frank, we have the Go Cougar plane coming through as well. Kirk Durbin, the fine linebacker for the Cougars. John McCrary, the starting tackle. John Katsaris, number 70, coming through. Sal Lopez, starting tackle. Brian Rogers. Dave Gonzalez. Kevin Mendoza, fine wide receiver. We'll be seeing a lot of action tonight. Lorenzo Barboza, the tight end. Tony Jensen, we'll be seeing a lot of action tonight at tight end. Jeff Pierce, starting defensive end. Gary Woods, a 2-year starter, all-league performer. And here come the rest of the Cougars football team.
Jim, I was looking at that plane, and there go the cannons. Oh, wow, this never stops. It's a great sight. I can't believe it.
It'll be going on all evening. The fireworks, the cannons, the planes, the helicopters are hovering over here to our left, Frank, ready to bring in the cheerleaders. Clovis West has had a hot air balloon. Looks like the game is as exciting as the pageantry. We're really going to be in store for a great evening.
Here comes...
Number 11 is Dino Lawson coming through for the Eagles. Number 12, Jeff Peterson, quarterback.
Number 19, Scott McKinley.
Scott McCreary coming in.
Number 26, Brett Peterson.
And Peterson.
Number 30, John Lowry.
John Lowry, number 30.
Steve Hero. Number 33, Mike Green.
Mike Green will be playing corner, starting at the tailback for the Eagles. 35, Todd Howe. He's really one of the fine football players in the league. 45 is Alan Richburg, another fine linebacker. Will be playing an outstanding game tonight, I'm sure. 61 is Donnie White, a fine nose man. Eric Campbell, 2-year starter, playing his last Clovis High game. 70 is Steve Davis. 73 is Kenny Downs. Tim Barnes coming in, the wide receiver. John Hendricks, the starting tight end. Ken Mazzella, a fine kicker, outside linebacker. And here comes Max Newberry and the Fighting Eagles.
And that's Clovis West. Graf Zeppelin over there, the miniature Graf Zeppelin. Is that radio controlled?
That's radio controlled, Frank, and I guess they couldn't get the Goodyear blimp, but we've got our Clovis Eagle blimp.
I see.
It was something that was unveiled last year, and it was extremely popular and the Eagles have brought us back again this year.
And have they landed with the cheerleaders, or did that get by me?
Well, I think several of them have landed. Again, we have the blimp and the Go Eagle sign hovering over the LaMonica Stadium.
These balloons are really something, and obviously this has been choreographed for the last...
Frank, we have a great evening for football. We have outstanding weather, no wind. This couldn't be better for this type of a football game.
Let's go back once more on the defenses. How do you see this game shaping up defensively, Jim?
Well, we have the league's number one rushing defense. That's Clovis West against the league's top rushing offense, Coach Simon's wishbone offense. It's always exciting to see this game develop. And of course, I said before that usually when you have two strengths, a defensive strength will usually counteract that offensive strength. I think Clovis High is going to have to be able to throw, especially on early downs, to be successful against Clovis West 9-man front.
Now the captains are in the field, there'll be the toss of a coin.
Now there we have Eric Campbell as the captain standing off the side, Jeff Peterson, and number 35, of course, is Todd Young, the fine linebacker for the Clovis West Eagles. There's number Cougars. There we have John Papaleo and number 16, John Larios.
So the Golden Eagles will kick off. We're just about into action. We'll be back with what happens between Clovis and Clovis West in this big game at LaMonica Stadium in just a moment. Okay, we're back to what will be action here in just a couple of moments. To our right, the Clovis Cougars attired in blue and white. To our left, Clovis West. They are attired in white jerseys, as you notice, with the crimson helmets. Clovis West will kick off to the Clovis Cougars. It'll be Johnson, who is in deep safety and possibly will receive either he or 34, Kevin Christensen. The ball is in the air. It's going to be out of bounds, going past the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Clovis Cougars on their own 20-yard line. This will be our first look now at John Larios. What will he do as a quarterback? Certainly he won't decide, I don't imagine, Jim, to start throwing passes back there at the opening moments of this game.
Well, I don't know. They might try to get in a little bit better field position, but I think Coach Simons feels that they need to throw the ball and establish the pass to make their option offense go. Let's see what happens.
The Cougars come up to the ball. The defense is set. Here comes the wishbone, the multiple offense. Sometimes it resembles a veer. Be the judge of this yourself. The ball is given off. Outside the tackle comes Kevin Christensen. He picked up only about a half a yard if he made that much. Christensen has come on very strongly in the last couple of games, and he is a key, as you were telling me, Jim, of this Clovis offense. Let's go down the backs and receivers. Number 16 is John Larios. The quarterback, 34, Christensen, 44. You'll hear a lot from him. The fullback, Dale Small. Ryan Rogers, number 82, Lorenzo Barboza. The tight end. And now let's watch and see what happens on the second down of the big game. There's a buck at the tackle. And no, it's a handoff given to Christensen. He's outside, swings outside, loses the ball, but it goes out of bounds. And that one fooled us. Let's have a look and see how it happened. It's coming up on the replay, Jim.
Frank, the Cougars are coming out with something unique. They're coming out with an unbalanced line and a double tight end. I think you'll see a lot of different formations tonight from the Cougars. Now they're in a double split in with the wing.
A good formation on that last play, and here is driving down the center of the field. Dale Small is loose on the 30, the 25, and down he goes on the 27-yard line. He got by the 30, was hit and was knocked down by the corner. Knocked down by Mike Green, and what could have been a touchdown run. This is the kind of action that Clovis pulled off in the fourth period against
Dale
Willard High
Small,
School.
the big 6'3", 200-pound fullback for the Cougars. Reading the veer, the Cougars will run the inside veer and the outside veer. and somebody didn't cancel at that time.
There is a straight buck into the center of the line, and Christensen this time for about a half a yard and certainly no more. Clovis West, who has certainly seen the tapes of this team, is playing this defensive tough, except for one play that broke loose.
The Cougars are running that ball very well right now against the Clovis West defense, and we're seeing strength against strength, Frank.
And so it is second down and 5 yards to go for the blue-clad Cougars. They're into the territory of Clovis West. Larius behind the center gets the ball, hands it off to Small, bucks into the line on the right side, and gets a couple of yards. Moves it down to the 18-yard line.
Again, Frank, we're in that unbalanced line, and Dale Small running the outside veer play. John Larios has to read the end on that. If he comes down to tackle Small, he'll pull that ball out and go out and attack the cornerback. That time, the end went out a little bit, and he gave the ball to Dale Small.
Okay, here's a key play. Early in this football game, third down on the 23-yard line. Clovis West on the defense. In motion to the left. There's a handoff. And bucking is Christensen this time on a misdirection play for about 4 yards and close to a first down.
Clovis High is throwing everything out of their old book that they have. That was a double tight end wing formation and running the reverse back to Kevin Christensen. The defensive line for the Clovis West Eagles is Greg Locke, Todd Young, Donnie White at nose, Alan Richburg at one linebacker, and Eric Campbell at tackle.
So here's the key to the first quarter at least. The Golden Cougars, Ken Marzella, number 84. The line, Gino Lawson, George Ellis, Jeff Peterson. Clovis West, Todd Bauer, Mike Green. That's the way they line up. Let's watch the Clovis Cougars. Let's watch them come. They'll hand off to the second man coming through, and he's picked up the first down. With a fourth down and a foot to go, the Cougars bang into the line, and the rushing so far has overcome the great defense of Clovis West. Clovis High School with first and 10, and they're sitting now on the 12-yard line. On the 12-yard line, it'll be first and 10 for the golden helmeted Clovis Cougars. John Larius has been moving this club very effectively inside the tackles, and especially on that double reverse. Larius goes back to throw. It is on the left flat. It is knocked down, and it was almost intercepted. Mike Green was up to knock that ball down, and it was close for a moment. It looked like he might complete the pass, but no. 8 minutes and 45 seconds of playing time left in the first period. The score is 0-0.
Again, the Cougars in their unbalanced line, trying to hit a play-action pass that time. Not quite hooking up, but very close.
Larius brings them up. Clovis West shifting the defense now. They're ready. 5 on the front line. There's the lateral back, and running with that ball. Coming wide and getting some yardage is Christensen this time. Instead of going right, he went left and picked up yardage. It looks to be about the 7-yard line.
Here we see the Cougars in an end-over wing formation. It's unbalanced, running a counter option to Kevin Christensen. Very fine option football.
We're on the 11-yard line. It is 8 minutes and 15 seconds of playing time. Third down, 3 yards to go. We're in the first quarter of play. 8 minutes and 10 seconds to go. The Cougars have not given up the football. Straight over the center of the line goes Dale Small, and he may have picked up a half a yard at the most. Small gained very big in the last couple of games in which he played. He was a key running back for this Cougar football team. And now they're within 9 yards of the goal line. 7 minutes and 47 seconds of playing time left. And out of the ball game is number 84, Mendoza. He's replaced by Mark Ruth, number 14. Will they run or will they pass? It is fourth down, 1 yard to go. Larius carrying it himself. He may get the first down. He's going for the end zone. Touchdown! John Larius, as he has done a few times before in this season, took that ball, carried it himself, and ran right
This time,
around
Frank,
the
the
end.
Cougars were in a double tight end, the straight wishbone formation. Of course, John Larios breaks a couple tackles. He's a great athlete and gets into the end zone.
Clovis coming right back off their Bullard victory and their great fourth quarter rally to win that football game, picking it up from where they left off. Now let's see what happens on the conversion. The kick is up. It is good. The score, Clovis 7, Clovis West nothing. This exclusive cablecast of the Clovis Cougars and Clovis West Eagles. This football game is being brought to you in part by the Clovis Independent and the Clovis Community Hospital. Okay, Mike Kuntz made the conversion to make it 7-0. It's going to be Lorenzo Barbosa who'll kick off for Clovis, and it is high, as you notice, picked up on the 5-yard line. And that is Brian Lewis, who comes back toward the center of the field, gets loose, comes ripping up past the 35, and down he goes. There's a flag on the play.
Frank, we probably have a blocking below the waist or a clipping penalty. That fine run is going to be nullified, and the ball is going to be brought back 15 yards from the spot of the foul.
Psychologically, it is important for Clovis West to bring that ball back into territory where they can try a pass, where they can move the ball, where they can use some of those secret things that Max Newberry told me he was working on, or at least inferred that much. But unfortunately for them, it looks like clipping, doesn't it?
Well, I'm anxious to see the Golden Eagles get on track here offensively. They're led, of course, by Jeff Peterson, who I think is one of the outstanding athletes in the league this year. Really, we have 3 major college prospects in the league this year. I think Jeff Peterson is one of them, John Larios, and Ken McDonald from Edison. So it's going to be really interesting now to see how the Eagles react to this momentum that the Cougars seem to have now.
It's especially important to see if Jeff Peterson can repeat his great work of the 1981 season when he led this football team to a resounding 29-8 victory. And so let us see now what Peterson does when he gets his team geared up. Will he throw some passes? Let's wait and see. Will they take a chance, and will they forget all about trying to test that Clovis line? We'll find out. But this is the first chance that Peterson has with the ball in fairly decent position. It is put back on the 45-yard line following the penalty.
Cougars now will be kicking from the 45-yard line. Of course, the Eagles are going to be backed up here and probably have poor field position.
The penalty was against Golden.
The Eagles and blocking below the knee.
Barbosa will kick off. George Ellis is deep. Ellis trails that ball back, and it goes out of bounds, as you might expect from that close-in position. And so it'll be 1st and 10 yards to go when play resumes for Clovis West. And forget everything I was saying about the fact that they look like they might have some good field position. Now let's have a quick look at the offensive backs and receivers of Clovis West. Number 33 is Mike Green, the end. John Hendricks, number 83. He is a tight end. Jeff Peterson, of course, the quarterback. Ken Van Essen, the fullback, 32. You'll see that guy quite a bit. Number 24, George Ellis, the left halfback. Man in motion to the right. It's a give to the center of the line, and bucking ahead for about a yard or two, Ken Van Essen. He will carry the ball quite often this evening. A gain of about 3 yards on the play to make it 2nd down and 7 yards to go. The offensive line, Steve Davis at left tackle, Steve Urea at left guard, Scott Brennan is the center, Melvin Jones the right guard, and Rob Hoffman the right tackle. That sets you up. Let's see what they do. They're on the 25-yard line. Make it the 24.5-yard line. Peterson goes back to pass, throws a 20-yard pass to the left side. It is complete to Green, and Green has lost the ball. And was it a fumble and a recovery? It might have been.
This is going to be an interesting call. I'm not sure who has possession. Let's see what the officials rule here. It looks like the Eagles are going to have possession. Frank, it's very interesting. Max Newberry bringing out of his bag of tricks. They've been running a wing T offense the entire year. They've come out in a power I set.
Let's watch it again, Jim. Here it comes.
It's a drag pattern to Paul Green. He is tackled. He fumbles the ball. Let's see if 58 has possession. Looks like he recovered it, and the Cougars are going to take over.
So it'll be the Cougar ball once more in Clovis West territory. This is important for Clovis West. They can't afford to get behind by 2 touchdowns this early in the football game.
Frank, as a coach, this is some of the important moments in football. This is what coaches refer to as a sudden change, where your defense has to come back on the field and play spirited and stem the tide. We'll see if the Eagles can do it.
Valerius.
Of course, this is the Clovis West offensive team that is huddling down there with Coach Ken Biggs going over their assignments. Clovis High is coming out in a 5-2 defense. It's a little bit different for them.
So they'll try it this way. Let's see what happens. Larius, of course, remains as the quarterback, using the wishbone, but it's a straight-ahead punch over the left side of the line, and Dale Small again carries, and he is finding no difficulty getting good yardage to save the season.
Frank, it looks like Coach Simons is elected to go strength against strength. He's not throwing that ball like we anticipated. He's got a big, experienced offensive line, and Clovis enjoying a large size advantage. Let's see if the Eagles can hang in there.
It's hard to think that he's going to start passing that ball too much because he's having such good success inside the tackles and over the center. Except for of course, the touchdown run by Larius. Now Larius has the ball. He's going to pass. He throws on it. Man, it's out of the end. It's a touchdown. Mark 10 yards behind the Clovis West defenders and romped in.
There we have the play-action fake with both Brian Rogers and Mark Ruth wide open, and that's the danger against the wishbone. You commit so many people against the run that the passing game all of a sudden gets up and gets a big play.
They discussed that unusual thing before the conversion. They're on one side of the field and they run up to the line and they're ready to go. It is good. The score is Clovis 14. Mark Coons puts it through for the second time this evening. The Cougars 14 and the Golden West Eagles, I mean to say the Clovis West Golden Eagles, trail this football game by a score of 14-0. 5 minutes and 36 seconds remain in the first period.
Well, mistakes have already played a big factor in this game. Of course, that blocking below the knee was a big play against the Eagles. And, of course, the fumble. But there's a lot of time left, and I fully expect Clovis West to play very, very hard the rest of this game. A lot of time left in this football game, Frank.
5:36, and as you might notice if you've seen the background of the crowd, it is a sellout SRO standing room only here at La Monica Stadium. No surprise for this game of magnitude in the Clovis area.
One of the dangers in defending against the wishbone, Frank, is the fact that everybody has to cancel. If somebody makes a big play, the result we just saw, the touchdown to Mark Roop.
All right, it's either George Ellis or Brian Lewis who should be in the receiving end of this kick. And booting it away is Lorenzo Barboza, who sets himself, puts his right hand in the air, and let's see what he does with it. It's a bounding kick. It is not an offside try, but a bad kick. And it looks to be fallen upon, and of course, by Clovis West. They were close to the ball. They got there. It is their ball, and they have the first break that they've had so far in this football game. Clovis West in pretty good field position on the 44.5-yard line.
Well, let's see if the Eagles can get on track here. They've shown signs that they can move the ball on Clovis. Coach needs to stay with his game plan. There's plenty of time left in this football.
All right, Jeff Peterson, what do? You go and give it to the man, the fullback, who goes right over the center of the line, and the tailback gets himself a couple of yards. About 4 yards on the play. Peterson, well, he'll pass some, but he can't pass every down. He's got to keep the Clovis Cougar defense one of the better defenses against the rush in the NYL. He has to keep them honest, so he's got to try that line. If it works, of course, then he has a little better shot at throwing that ball. Peterson is a good passer. He is also a good heady quarterback, and he does exactly what Max Newberry tells him to do. He throws it out. It's a little shovel pass. And there, breaking out, is Brian Lewis, who moves the ball very well up and knocked out of bounds on the 35-yard line.
Frank, we've got a football game. Obviously, Clovis West is not going to concede anything.
I think we can look at this one again, Jim.
We have a quick toss here to Brian Lewis. He gets outside on the perimeter. He has great speed and strength. Picks up the first down.
It is on the 38-yard line. In the territory of the leading Cougars. They're in front 14-0. Peterson has the ball, whirls around, gives it on a misdirection play, and the gain is about 2 yards. About 3 yards, actually. The stop is made by Kurt Durbin. I've never seen a high school football game with balloons like this, and as a matter of fact, I'll never expect to see the start of a football game like the Galaxy that we saw here at La Monica Stadium right before this action got underway. I will not forget it. It's something else to see.
It's Football America, Frank.
You got it. All right, Peterson, what do you do now, Jeff? You're moving the football. You're 14 points behind. He whirls around. Very clever. It is incomplete, however, and it's a loose ball and fallen upon by Mike Green, for whom the pass was intended. It was a little flip pass, not exactly a safety valve pass, but it was even with the line, and it got away from him.
Well, we have a little play-action fake trap and a hitch pass out here. Incomplete.
Papaleo was right on top of that guy, too. He was trailing that one.
And actually, Frank, that play could have been disastrous.
Well, it certainly didn't help there, Claus. It is third down, and we're sitting back there now on the 41-yard line, but still in Clovis territory. Peterson is calling signals. He's strong to the right. He goes back 4 yards to throw. There's a little safety valve pass, and it is not a first down. A gain of about 4.5 yards on the play, and that's all he can get was simply back to the line of scrimmage, the original line of scrimmage.
Well, a little quick screen that time. Got it out to George Ellis. Looked like something was going to materialize, but John Larios made a fine play.
Well, Larios goes both ways, and actually Peterson does too, doesn't
Both
he?
quarterbacks are two of the best athletes on these teams, and the coaches feel they have to be in the game at all times.
That screen pass looked well. He set it very well, and I would not be surprised to see them use it again, perhaps a little bit later on in the football game. It's a very key play now. Back goes Peterson. He's got to go to the air, and he does, and the man is loose, but the ball is overthrown. There were 3 Clovis players around number 85, and this is Paul Green, and he thought by the way he ran off the field that he might have been impeded back there on the defense. Did you see that, Jim?
No, I didn't, Frank. I think something that's significant right now is the Cougars are getting pretty good pass pressure on Jeff Peterson and forcing him to throw before he wants to.
Oh, okay, now you've got a fourth down. Rather, first downs for Clovis Cougars. You just had the fourth down. It is a 1st and 10 for the Cougars. They're almost at midfield. They're 11 yards away. Let's see if they stay on the ground, or are they going to try to break loose and put this game away this early? All right, Larius does not give, carries it himself, finds some running room, gets about a yard or two, and they pile upon him just before he gets out of bounds. So a couple of yards for John Larius. But, you know, sometimes I get the impression, Jim, that Simons is setting up something big. He runs, he does this, he does that, nothing happens, and then all of a sudden...
Well, the run and the wishbone offense, Frank, sets up the passing. It's outside veer play, pulls the ball out, and attacks the perimeter. Played very well by Clovis West that time.
That was a replay, in case you think it was second down. It wasn't. It was second down coming up now. It was a tape replay. And here, let's see now what happens. Okay. 4 linebackers. 2 safeties. Carrying the ball and bucking his way this time comes the Cougars' number 34, Kevin Christensen.
That time, Frank, we saw a double split in with a wing, and looking at that little sprint draw play there, trying to spring Kevin Christensen into the secondary.
Have you had any chance to watch Todd Young, and how is he doing? Have you had an opportunity to see how he's going tonight, Todd Young?
Todd Young is a real fine football player, Frank. He's going to play hard every day. You can look for him to be on or around the ball every play. Okay, let's watch Larius now. He's carrying it himself. It's play option, and it is complete.
on the 38-yard line. Make it the 39-yard line. And we may get a replay on this one. But there is a flag on the play. Infraction against the Cougars.
Looks like it's going to be a holding penalty, Frank. Let's wait and see what the officials say. That time John Larios sprinted out to his right and threw a strike to Brian Rogers, but I think it's going to be nullified, holding on the Cougars.
So we have a penalty coming up, and it's about to be marched off. 3, 4, 5. It is back to the 39-yard line in Clovis Cougar territory.
We have an illegal procedure call against the Cougars. Not a holding penalty, which is going to help us give the Cougars a little bit better field position. Big play, Frank. 3rd and 10.
Clovis West, should they hold, will get the ball in fairly decent position. They still, of course, they're going to be back in their own territory. If this play fails, Larios goes back to pass. He's being rushed, but he gets it away. It is complete. And coming up the field is Christensen. He is loose on the 40 and finally out of bounds on the 37-yard line. Kevin Christensen. On the short pass from Larios, he was by himself. Larios seemed to fake to the right side, through to the left side, and that opened up the left side of the field for the completion. Back on the 36-yard line in the territory of Clovis West. Larios looks left and looks right, and did they take too much time?
Frank, that screenplay was really set up. It's given the Cougars, they've added that last week, and it's given them more time to throw the ball. It's taken away the pressure from the backside off of John Larios. That time the pressure came, and they screened back away to it and set up a very fine gain.
I have seen this Clovis Cougar football team a few times, and I have not seen this much emphasis on the screen pass.
Usually in option football, you don't see it too often, but Coach Simons has felt that they're getting so much pressure on the backside that they needed to put that in their offense. And, of course, Clovis West is coming very tough from the backside, and it set up that fine play.
Incidentally, this program is brought to you from La Monica Stadium on Fresno Cable Community Channel 11. Direct, live and direct, and then after this live game is over, a replay, and again a replay Sunday at 5 if you have to tune this one off. So a replay on this football game Sunday at 5 p.m. Now, Larios takes the give, hands it himself. He's going to be hit, he fumbles. Clovis West recovers on the 44-yard line. So Clovis West gets its second break of the ball game. Eric Campbell, the nose guard, was on that football. Oh, baby, Clovis West becomes alive.
Frank, Cougars running the counter option that time, and penetration by the Eagle defense set that up. Of course, this is one of the dangers of the option offense. They put it on the ground 6 times last week and once here tonight. They're not going to be able to do that.
Which the Cougars leading 14-0. Clovis West has the ball first down on their own 44-yard line and spin by the quarterback Peterson. A give and pushing it into the line for virtually no gain is Todd Barnes, the left halfback number 3, and he was knocked away by Les Inouye.
85, Paul Green's coming in the game. He's a fine athlete, 6'3", 200 pounds at tight end, and they like to throw to him.
Let me change that gentleman's name. It's Inouye. Now I have the correct pronunciation. Okay, there's a lateral back to Smalley moves around. He goes back. It is Lewis, Brian Lewis, and Lewis is getting loose and goes up the sidelines and is knocked out of bounds. So Brian Lewis had some room. And there is the end of the first period. So with the score, Clovis High School, the Cougars 14, Clovis West nothing. We'll be back to the action after this. Reminder now, don't forget to watch Sunday on ESPN for the live coverage of the NB Game of the Week. That is on Fresno Cable Television, Channel 9. Boy Sports never stops coming on Fresno Cable, does it? Check the Valley Cable magazine for game times.
Big play for the Eagles, Frank.
Wow. Here it is. Let's see what happens for Clovis West. In motion to their right. Quarterback Peterson is being chased back to his own 35-yard line for his screen pass, and he does not get it away. Kurt Durbin was in there to help mess it up.
Cougars bringing one of their linebackers, Kurt Durbin, putting a lot of pressure on Jeff Peterson, who was trying to set up a middle screen. 4th down, the Eagles are going to have to punt.
Clovis Cougars playing an inspired defensive game this evening. It's 11:56 to go in the second period. The score is 14-0. The Cougars on top. And now back in punt formation is Kevin Mendoza. He stands, and he, just gets it away. Poor guys flew through the air for him. And Mendoza takes it. He's going to be hit, and he's knocked down on the 10-yard line by Todd Barnes.
A key series now for the Eagle defense. They have the Cougars packed up in Cougar territory, and they need to stop the Cougars here and get that ball back.
That was Mendoza back in safety who caught that ball, and it was put away very quickly. And so now Clovis West has a chance if they can pressure the Cougars, if they can pick that ball up one way or the other, perhaps by a fumble. The long shot opportunity presents itself nonetheless, and as the game moves along, these are the kind of breaks the Eagles need to make an impact in this football game. Now let's watch Larry as he appears to be very quiet there. Almost fumbled the ball, but he grabbed it in the air as he's being smothered and knocked down on the 15-yard line. Larius that time had that ball roll up his fingertips, and he just managed to hang on to it.
I know, Frank, this has been a perplexing problem for Coach Simon because the Cougars have been inconsistent, especially a lot of fumbles. That was a fumbled snap. It wasn't option related, but it certainly is a concern that Coach Simons will have to be aware of.
Well, I can attest to that because in that Bullard game that I watched, he had 5 fumbles, as you remember, in the second period, and then came back and played great football in the second half to win the game. But Clovis can do that. There's a quick pass. It is complete. Out on the corner, and there goes Roof, and he gets up now to the 26-yard line.
Quick little hitchbacks to Mark Ruth, picking up the first down. See John Larios just getting the ball out there on a little hitch. Mark Ruth making a fine effort, picking up the first down.
So the Cougars now move out of their own territory. It's on the 28-yard line. It is first and 10 for the Simons wishbone. Larios has the ball on a beautiful fake give, and there's breaking out in the open and completing a forward pass. Brian Rogers jumping high in the air to pull it down, and he was smothered and knocked down by George Ellis, but only after he moved that football up to the 38-yard line.
You can see we have another play-action pass here. Larios breaks the tackle, gets out on the perimeter, and throws the post to Brian Rogers, who makes an outstanding catch.
Up come the Cougars. Again, they're close to breaking this one. Breaking it wide open if they should score again before the half is over, and if they hold Clovis West. Larius takes it himself. Thinks he finds some running room. Then he laterals out. A beautiful pitch out, and breaking loose is the number 34 who gets yardage. That is Christensen, who's been running brilliantly all evening long. We got the...
Here we have the Cougars in double tight end, reading the outside veer. John Larios pitches the ball off the corner. George Ellis and Kevin Christensen running hard, picking up that first down. Frank, we're seeing option football at its finest tonight.
Let me make a correction for the van. It is not Todd Christensen. It is Kevin Christensen. And he is the number 34 who moved that football down the field. But, however, here comes the penalty being marked. The flag is down. It is a penalty against Clovis.
Clipping, Frank's going to nullify that fine game.
Well, that is too bad for Clovis, but they can afford something like this at this stage of the game. Now, maybe later on they can't afford it. But right now they can take it. It's 10:23 to go in the second period in this balloon-infested football game. It's rainbow time at La Monica Stadium. Okay, what are you going to do now? John Larius. There's a pass down the center into the left flat. It is incomplete. Intended that time for Brian Rogers, and Todd Young was in there to help mess it up. Todd Young is certainly one of the better performers in the NYL. Very highly regarded by coaches and by his teammates and by his opponents alike. Okay, 14-0. Now it is second down and approximately 9.5 yards to go. 10 yards to go to be sure. 10 yards to go. Larry is on the move again. Again, the pitch out to Christensen. He comes circling around. He picks up 3 or 4 yards, and then 3 players batter him out of bounds.
Counter option that time, Frank. Todd Young, Alan Ripsburg, Jeff Peterson doing a fine job to limit that to no games.
A few stats have come in from the first quarter. Clovis West had 2 first downs. Clovis had 4. In the rushing department, Clovis West 6. Clovis 13, but yardage gained in rushing, 33 Clovis West, and Clovis, of course, as you might expect, they're a key rushing team in the NYL. They picked up 74 yards, more than twice as many as their opponents. Now it is 3rd down and 9 yards to go. Larius looks and he throws. It is complete. And Brian Rogers pulls it down and is knocked down as he caught the ball, but not until he had gotten his first down. Replay.
Frank, the Cougars in their end-over, unbalanced formation, play-action fake, running the turn-in for one of the NYL's leading receivers, Brian Rogers, really executed quite nicely.
Okay, it is sitting on the 24-yard line in Clovis West territory. The Eagles set the defense. It is a 4-1 defensively, and Larius is getting loose. He's spinning and working his way out of trouble and still carrying the football and finally knocked down on about the 22-yard line. There's your Jeff Peterson again, playing it both ways, and he was into it.
Playing a fine game on defense. That's about as good as option defense as you'll see. Shutting down the outside veer, getting the man on the quarterback. That's the way it's supposed to be played. Here it is. Larios running hard, but Alan Ritzberg up there, and Lyerly and Jeff Peterson coming over to make the tackle.
Can you imagine a college football team with a quarterback that goes both ways like Peterson? You don't find many.
Don't see that very often, but these are such splendid athletes. Coaches feel like they need to be in the game.
Over the center of the line and gaining 5 or 7 yards on the play before he's finally tackled is Dale Small. He is a big ground gainer for the Clovis Cougars, and he continues it tonight. He has bucked that ball up to approximately the 12-yard line. Make it the 13. It is 1st and 10 on the 13-yard line, deep in Clovis West territory. 8 minutes and 39 seconds to go in this football game. The weather is brisk, perfect football weather. The balloons are up here dancing in the air, and the crowd is most enthusiastic.
Dale Small is 6'3", 200 pounds with 4.6 speed, Frank.
They're in the center of the field. Let's see where he goes. Larius gives it away, and Small again. Bangs ahead, and Les put him away. Les Inaway comes up to make the stop on the 9-yard line. Make it the 10-yard line. At that point, we'll have a 2nd down and 5 yards to go with just barely 8 minutes to play in this football game, in the second quarter of the football game. Clovis West, nothing on the board. Clovis's Cougars, 14-0.
Eagles need to stiffen here. They need to hold.
The junior varsity game won unexpectedly by Clovis West by 1 point, 7-6. Larius gives it off. Misdirection play, and the gain is about 2.5 to 3 yards. Jeff Peterson comes up to make the stop. So it goes all the way to the 6-yard line. It is now 3rd down and 1 yard to go.
Dale Small is, again, a first-year player, Frank, with magnificent physical proportions, showing steady improvement. And this year in the NYL, he's averaged 7.6 yards per carry.
Well, that is good in college ball. It is good in pro ball. It is certainly good in high school football. Let's watch Larius now. How is he going to try to get this touchdown? He spins around and gives it off again, this time to Christensen, who bangs over the left side of the line, and he gets about a yard on the play, and may have gotten the first down. Very close. First down. It seems to me, Jim, as though the weight is starting to tell on the Eagles.
I think it's a little early right now. Coach Newberry has taken a timeout. One of the nice things in high school football this year is the coach can go right into that huddle, fire his kids up, settle them down, and try to get things under control. Coach Newberry's taking a timeout, trying to stop the momentum, get his defense under control, and get his kids fired up.
Is that something that's done in other areas around the country, or is it just out here in this area?
It's a CIF California rule. It was just instituted this year, and Frank, it's a tremendous advantage for the coach to go out on the field and talk to his team.
I like to see him get out there in a little golf cart, run right up there. And
you can actually bring your chalkboard or your pad out also. Coach Simon looking over the situation. Now, I think you'll probably see some sort of an outside veer play coming up or possibly an inside belly play.
He can't be too unhappy right now, but I was watching his face in the monitor, and he didn't look like he was smiling. He's one of those very intense football coaches. Very quiet, soft-spoken person, but inside he's very intense.
He's very intense, and he displays his intensity in different ways. He's not tremendously outgoing, but there isn't a more intense football coach than Tim Simon, or as a matter of fact, Max Newberry.
Okay, here we go. Clovis with their linebackers in very tight. Clovis West with their linebackers in tight. Now let's see where the play goes. It is a give, and driving over the line, going for the goal line is Kevin Christensen. He does not make it.
The inside belly play that I just referred to, the second man through, faking to Dale Small, handing the ball off to Kevin Christensen, getting it down close to the goal line.
Certainly one of the most important plays of this football game is coming up now because the ball is so very, very close to a touchdown. 6 minutes and 27 seconds to go. Below us, the Cougar band plays very happily. They sense that their team has an edge in this football game, and they all have to look at the scoreboard, and Larius goes over. Quarterback sneak, John Larius, and there's the Cannons.
John Larios is an excellent quarterback sneak quarterback. Coach Simons will go to him often in short yardage situations. He's got a big, strong offensive line, and they'll just try to wedge it for that short yardage.
I can't help but think, Jim, that Clovis wants to win this game big because of last year's score the other way.
There's no question about that, Frank. This is for bragging rights at Clovis, and of course last year was a bitter defeat. Not only the loss to Clovis West, but taking the Cougars out of the NYL championship last year.
There's the kick. It is up. It is good. And so we'll be back with the action with the score 21-0. Be back with the action in just a moment. This is Community Channel 11 with a live telecast out of La Monica Stadium where Clovis West is trailing the Clovis Cougars 21-0. Barboza is about to kick off for the Cougars. It is a low trajectory. It comes to about the 10-yard line. Brian Lewis has the football. He comes straight up the center. The center for him, and he gets past the 30-yard line. The 34-yard line is where they jump up and knock him down, and it'll be 1st and 10 from that point. Now we may pick up the replay of that touchdown. If we have time. If we don't
Big series, Frank, for the Eagles. They need to get something established. They need to get on this scoreboard before halftime.
Okay, we don't have time for the replay, so let's see what Jeff Peterson does now. He's got a man in motion to the right. He takes the football and stumbling as he gets to the line, but driving up goes Brian Lewis. And he gets about a yard or so, and that's about all he gets. 5:47 to go in the first half. Give him about 2.5 yards on the play. No, not that much. He moved up that far, but because his knee touched the ground back there on the 32-yard line, that is where the football is pressed. I want to remind you that Thursday there's live NBA on the USA Cable Network. Of course, one of the cable programmers in Fresno. Catch all the excitement. Converter Channel 12, the NBA in all its glory. Okay. Back to pass. Peterson finds a man. Beautiful pass. And his receiver, Paul Green, grabs it and is knocked out of bounds. John Larius, the quarterback on the Cougars, playing both ways. He made the tackle.
Here we go with the man in motion. Little fake boot action and hitting Clovis West's favorite pattern, the drag pattern over the middle to Paul Green.
Now let's see if they can get on the board. They've got 5 minutes and 13 seconds to make it. It is on the 45-yard line. Clovis West has the football. Clovis, the Cougars bring up their linebackers. And getting loose on the 45 and finally propelling his way to the 25-yard line, Ken Van Essen. We have not seen too much of Van Essen so far tonight, but he certainly peeled off a big gainer. Now let's have a look and see how Van Essen made his yardage.
Kenny Van Essen, a little quick dive, quick hitting play. Really Clovis West, outstanding running back. Look for Kenny Van Essen more throughout this game.
He runs straight up. He squares his shoulders, and those legs are churning, so you've got to watch that kind of a runner. Now into the line. Again, goes Van Essen. This time he picks up 2 or 3 down to the 21-yard line, and Kurt Durbin is the guy to jump up there and stop his movement.
Frank, I think Van Essen is the key for the Eagles. They need to establish that inside running game. If they can establish Van Essen inside, it'll set up Peterson's bootleg.
The clock tells Clovis West there's 4:28 to go. And they're intent for a touchdown. They needed to go in the dressing room with a touchdown. Man in motion to the right, a fumble recovery. Ooh, that was close. That was Jeff Peterson who dropped the ball as he spun around to do something with it. We couldn't tell what because he fumbled the ball before he had a chance to show us. A loss on the play of about a yard, 2 yards on the play. It is back to the 24-yard line. Out of the game comes number 24, George Ellis for Clovis West. Now that is Peterson again. They're not worrying about the long pass at this moment. The Cougars aren't. So we'll see what Peterson does. He goes back. He might have time. He's on the move. He's got a throw on the run. He does. It is complete. Beautiful catch. Sensational catch. The runner is going to the 5. It is Todd Barnes. He is there on the 1-yard line. Are there any flags on the field? I don't think so.
Man in motion again, and Todd Barnes. You'll see Jeff Peterson come out here and break contain. When he gets outside, just like John Larios, he's dangerous. A strike here to Todd Barnes, and Todd Barnes puts one terrific individual effort here. One of the best efforts I've seen in a long time.
But, there was a flag on the play.
Going to have a clip, it looks like. It's going to bring the ball back, but it looks like it'll be a first down or close to it. Well, coaches don't like to see that. They had a great individual effort. It's going to be nullified. Well, take the Eagles out of touchdown territory.
So you got third down. It is on.
It will be third down and 3 for Clovis West.
3 minutes and 35 seconds to go in this second quarter at La Monica Stadium. 21-0. The Clovis Cougars lead Clovis West, but this could start to turn the game around. It's a tough break on that last penalty, but that's part of the game. Peterson goes. He's coming the other way. This time he's loose, but can he make the first down? He's tugging and moving his players with him, and he comes right up there to the first down. He may have gotten there.
A good leg play to Jeff Peterson, picking up the first down. He's extremely dangerous on that play. Here we go. We're going to see the fake into the line with Peterson coming outside, cutting back up inside of the contain and picking up the first down.
Notice how, look at how he pulled the Clovis player right over his stomach and out of bounds so he couldn't get him out, at least out of his way, I mean to say. All right, let's watch it now. It is first and 10 on the 15-yard line of the Cougars. That is Mike Green. He is loose around the right side, reversing his field. He is at the 5, touchdown. Mike Green puts the Clovis West cheering section up in the air. The first time they've had a chance to yell and scream all evening.
This play has worked very, very well for Coach Newberry early in the game. It's a quick toss away from strength to the tailback, Mike Green. Great block by Kenny Van Essen. A nice cutback by Mike Green. And now this game is getting interesting, Frank.
Van Essen certainly paved the way for him, and Green picked up the cue, no doubt about it. And Grant Harris comes into the game for the conversion. It is good. Number 82, Grant Harris makes it 21-7. We'll be back with more of the action in just a moment. Side kickoff attempt was picked up by Clovis. Mendoza booted the ball on the ground and threw right to a Clovis man who picked it up, and it is on the 49-yard line. in Clovis territory, but the Cougars have the football and the lead, 21-7. That is Clovis West, who just scored. Clovis West, who came back. Clovis West, who has made this football game a little more exciting by virtue of that great run. Darius hands the ball off, and cutting loose is Small at the 45, at the 25, and the 20, and finally knocked down by George Ellis.
Well, the onside kick, Frank, giving the Cougars excellent field position, and they're right down there knocking on the door again.
We've got 2 minutes and 41 seconds of playing time left, and the Clovis Cougars turned Dale Small loose, and he squared those shoulders and banged up into the secondary to the 21-yard line in Clovis West territory. The Eagles have got to dig in. This is the touchdown they must stop to stay within 2 touchdowns as the half will end. All right, back goes Larius. He's got a man loose by himself. Kevin Christensen, and up there too, Jeff Peterson, and he knocks it away. It is no good. He just got his hands on it. Brian Rogers jumped up for that.
Got a coverage mix up. We've got 2 Clovis receivers wide open. John Larios missed Mark Roof. He was wide open in the corner of the end zone. Can't have those kind of mistakes from the Eagles if they expect to be in this ball game.
Well, it is 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Oh, make it 2nd and 10 yards to go. No gain on the pass. 2nd down, 10 yards to go, Clovis Creek. Again, yardage gain, this time again by Dale Small, who seems to find a home on the right side of the line, Jim.
The first part of the triple option, running the fullback on the outside veer, reading that end. If he shuts down, he'll pull the ball. If the end penetrates across the line of scrimmage, he'll give the ball to Dale Small.
Okay, we've got 1 minute and 57 seconds to go. It is 3rd down and 4 yards. 3rd and 4, only 18. Larius looks to his right, takes the ball, spins, gives, and there goes Christensen, and he fumbles! Recovered by the Eagles, by Jeff Peterson, who's been playing sensational defensively.
Jeff Peterson just made an outstanding play. He stripped the ball, saving tackle, and stripped the ball from Kevin Christensen. This is the counter dive play, Frank. Kevin Christensen runs extremely hard. Jeff Peterson, you'll see, come over there and strips the ball from him and causes that big play.
It was so obvious, Jim, that he only had his eyes on the football. He went up there and said, "This one's for me." He's carrying it like a loaf of bread. It wasn't really. He had it seemed to tuck in pretty well, but this kid got it away. In the center of the line, Kenny Bonesson with another gain up to about the 18-yard line. So maybe it is Bonesson who, his great runs earlier in the quarter, sprung the Clovis West team into a period of momentum, and they're picking it up once again, but the time is running out. Nevertheless, they at least have held off the Clovis Cougars bid for their 4th touchdown of the game. It is 21-7, the Cougars on top. Okay, the quarterback spins and gives, and here comes number 40, 32, Bonesson again, and he finds himself all the way down to the 30-yard line.
29-yard line.
Kenny Bonesson again on the little quick give to the fullback and getting the ball out into pretty decent field position.
The televised game will be replayed in its entirety.
Here's Kenny. He's a junior running back, breaking to the outside, and as you can see, he runs extremely hard.
He just knocks them off like bowling balls, I'm telling you. He's got a lot of drive. All right. There's a little pass down the center, complete into the seam to Paul Green, and Green comes up to the 45. Kurt Durbin was responsible for the tackle. It's going to be 1st and 10 for Clovis West, but do they have time? The bands are getting ready. There's 42 seconds of playing time left in the first half at jam-packed LaMonica Stadium.
That time we just had Peterson just making a little quick play-action fake and hitting the dump pass. Now you can see the Clovis High coach, defensive coordinator Cliff Wetzel, coming out into the huddle trying to steady his Cougars, get him in the proper alignment, and try not to give up a big play that could get the Eagles into field goal range or a score. They have an excellent field goal kicker in Grant Harris or Kenny Mazzella that can hit from 40 to 45 yards out.
For high school football, that's pretty good, isn't it?
They're excellent kickers. Mazzelli actually has more range. Harris has very good accuracy.
Okay, here's the picture once again. This is Community Channel 11 on Fresno Cable, and this is exclusive, live and direct. This broadcast is we follow with a replay in case you're watching that one. As a matter of fact, two of them, one after the game, the other one Sunday at 5 in case you'd like to see it again. It is, at this moment, 42 seconds of playing time left. Clovis West has come back. They're into the ball game. It's 21-7. Don't rule them out. They're showing good spark, good momentum, and Vanesson has been running exceedingly well. Peterson has been finding some guys to throw to, as example, that last play, and they're on the 45-yard line. It's got to be a big play for them to get on down and score a touchdown before this half is over. And the halftime, well, you saw what happened before the game. You want to stay with us for the halftime because that's going to be another spectacle.
Oh, it'll be as good as the game, Frank. The Eagles have been able to move that football on offense. A couple of key mistakes have hurt them.
All right,
their defense is going to have to regroup.
Clovis defense has 4 linebackers up fairly close and 1 safety back on the 42. Now, here's the pass by Peterson. It is good. Dropped on the 50-yard line. Tim Barnes had his hands on it. It rolled right down his arms and got away from him. This is a very important football game for Clovis High School because if they can win this game, they will have a shot at the championship. Clovis West, they have lost 2 games, and they, of course, can certainly improve themselves, but we don't have too many games left, do we? 2 more games after this?
Yes, Frank. They have an outside chance to win it, and, of course, they have a good chance they can win this game of getting in the playoffs.
Okay, let's see what happens now. Edison just caught my bullet last night, by the way. Okay, here comes Peterson, back to pass, 10 yards. It's a screen pass over to center, and it is complete, and running loose and getting free is Vanesson, who is great in being able to keep his balance, and Kurt Durbin, again, has been playing sensational football for Clovis pulls him down.
Okay, here you'll see Jeff Peterson dropping back to pass and running the screen middle. An excellent call in this situation when the Cougars dropped off.
There's Peterson's pass. You may have missed it because of the replay, and Tim Barnes could not quite reach it. So it is a loss of a few seconds on the clock and loss of a down.
If the Eagles can get another first down here, they're in field goal range.
It is on the 41-yard line. So it'll be exciting if that long field goal kicker that Jim was talking about can root one through the uprights from this distance. Remember, he's not a college kicker or a pro kicker, so it is a long way for a high school kicker to boot one some 42 yards plus the 10 yards of the end zone. They've got to get closer. There's no doubt about that. Out of the ball game comes George Ellis, and now we're back into play. The wide receiver very wide on the right side. Peterson is passing to his left. It is complete and knocked down as Brian Lewis after a gain on the play of about 4 yards. Kurt Durbin again. Durbin has made about 80% of the tackles in the last 10 minutes.
Cougars are in their prevent. They're running 5 underneath, man cover, and 2 free safeties. Good call by the Eagles on that play, trying to isolate their running back on one of the linebackers.
There comes Coach Simons. He wants to get his team around. He does not want to produce a Clovis West touchdown.
This is Jack Erdman, the defensive secondary coach, out there to make sure the proper coverage.
He wears the same kind of hat that Tim does.
Pardon me, Frank?
They have the same cowboy hat.
That's the way of life.
Yeah, right. He's a little heavier than Tim is now that I see him closer up. Okay. 39-yard line. The bands are coming on the field. Perhaps you can see them over in the distance. I think we pulled away from them now. But these bands are on the sidelines, and you'll be seeing them pretty soon. Attired in a brilliant uniform, this mixture of gold and blue, and the
Eagles got 2 plays here, possibly.
Okay, here it comes up big now. It comes up big, and Peterson goes back. He's going to let it go. It is deep. A man is loose. He has got the ball. Has he held on to it? No. It is knocked out of his arm. Paul Green had that football for just a brief moment, but not long enough. John Papaleo and Evan Escobedo knocked the ball loose.
Frank, that ball couldn't be thrown any better than that. It was right on the money. It should have been caught.
It seemed he had the ball for a moment or two.
He had it. He bobbled it. Got hit. And is a big play for the Cougars.
It is 4th down and 9 yards to go as we near the end of the first half. It is 21-7 in favor of the Clovis Cougars. Up comes the center over the ball. That is Scott Brennan. Peterson is barking his signals. He goes back 5 paces. He's being rushed. He gets loose. There is a man who was out in the open, but he's moving too far. Is it intercepted? No, I believe he picked that ball off the ground.
Intended for Green.
That was Paul Green, who was meant to be the receiver, but he couldn't quite reach the ball. There was 4 seconds to go. Clovis has one more play. They may waste it. So they go back in the dressing room at the worst, 21-7. There's a full half to go. And Clovis West has been putting its game patterns together. Its offense has improved in this last quarter. You can certainly expect more of the same in the second half. It is a cool, invigorating night at La Monica. We hope you enjoy this game on Community Channel 11 on Fresno Cable Television. This one's for the high school players and their families and the Clovis people who follow their teams. And we are happy, most happy to bring it to you. The score again as the half ends. Clovis High School 21, Clovis West 7. This exclusive cable cast of the Clovis Cougars and Clovis West Eagles football is being brought to you in part by Clovis Community Bank and the Cutler Television and Appliance.
And play football.
Looks like they made a commitment, don't you think? 2 touchdowns at least. Here they come, and the firecrackers go off, and the cannons are, ooh, look at those firecrackers. You can hear them if you can't see them. And the cheerleaders are some of the best here in the NYL. And they are jumping up and down. This is still a horse race, this NYL League. There are 2 more games after this one. Edison High School was a winner over Bullard last night, and there are a couple of games going on here this evening. It will be Lorenzo Barboza who will kick off this football.
Frank, this is going to be a critical series, and here we have the NYL standings with Edison at 6-1, with Sanger playing tonight at 5-1, Clovis 4-1-1, losing to Sanger 14-13, and tying to Hoover 14-14. Clovis West at 4-2, suffering a 3-0 loss to Madera and a 26-12 loss. So really a game that they had in hand. Madera 4-2, Bullard at 3-4 now, fading here in the stretch. Hoover 2-3-1, Roosevelt 2-5, McLean 1-6, and Fresno High has not won.
Okay, we're about to get into action. Clovis High School will kick off to the Clovis West Eagle defense, and George Ellis and Brian Lewis now on the offense take that football. It is Brian Lewis who comes straight up the field, and they pile upon him, and he's down on the 25-yard line, 35-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 to go at that point for the Eagles. Lorenzo Barboza, who kicked the football, you see him, he is number 85. He made the tackle.
A critical offensive series for the Eagles. We just have a score in from Selland Arena between Fresno State and the USSR. It's the USSR 79, Fresno State 72. So it looks like the Bulldogs had a fine contest against the Soviet Union tonight in Selland Arena.
That is the final score?
The final score.
Well, that's a good effort considering the fact that the Russians knocked off Pepperdine by 30 or 40 points. There's a penalty on the play.
The Eagles need to get something established. And here we have the offensive backs and receivers, Mike Green and John Hendrick at the ends, Jeff Peterson, Kenny Von Essen, who had a fine first half, and George Ellis.
Okay, it'll be 1st and 10 yards to go on the 15-yard line for Clovis West. 11:54 to go in the 3rd period. And of course, back at the controls, Jeff Peterson. He shovels it out, and coming wide around the right side, Mike Green has found no race running room whatsoever, and is knocked out of bounds on the 18-yard line. John Papaleo was in there to make the stop. That is number 33, Green.
Same play that they scored the touchdown on, Frank, running that toss sweep back away from strength, and again picking up 2 or 3 yards. Cougars played that much better.
Here comes Clovis West. Into the ball game a moment ago, you saw Todd Barnes run in. And there's a buck into the center of the line, and did he make 5 yards? He did. About 5 yards on the play by Kurt Durbin. Was up there to knock down the ball carrier. Durbin has made a tremendous amount of practice, probably more than any other player on either team.
Big play here for the Eagles. Third and short. The offensive line for the Golden Eagles. The big tackle, Steve Davis. The sophomore, Steve Uriah. Scott Brennan, the junior at center. Melvin Jones, the junior at right guard. And Rob Hoffman at tackle.
George Ellis, you saw him run into the game, and there's a fumble. Just behind the line, and who recovered that ball? This could be a key play in the second half. It looks like Clovis West. And they did. And I think it was Jeff Peterson who recovered his own fumble. So now with 4th and 1 yard to go, Clovis West has no alternatives. They must kick it away. Kevin Mendoza will be back in safety. He is back up pretty far on the 35-yard line. And that'll be Grant Harris, who stands back on his own 10 and boots it away. Beautiful high kick. Beautiful kick. Driving. Mendoza back. It is bouncing on the half-yard line. He picks it up. He's lateral. Now they could knock him off at a safety, but there is a flag down on the play. Todd Barnes was in there to pull him down on the goal line, but the flag had dropped.
By Grant Harris has really got the Cougars pinned deep in their territory.
73-yard kick that includes the bounce. So we're back in a moment with a replay of this play. Let's take a look at it as soon as we have a moment.
This is about the best thing that could happen for Clovis West after fumbling that crucial third down play. You can see Grant Harris booting the ball over Kevin Mendoza's head. Little indecision down here. Gets the ball. We have a blocking below the waist penalty call, and the tackle right down there close. It's on the inch line, Frank.
So it is 1st and 10 to go for the Clovis Cougars.
Terrific opportunity for Clovis West to either get a safety or back the Cougars up and get the ball back in good field position.
The time is now in.
I mean, it is inches.
Waving his arms.
Probably see a quarterback sneak here now with John Larios just to get the ball out. No, they're going to give the ball to Small.
Small bangs away. He's up to the 5-yard line, making the 6-yard line, and he gets good yardage. And so Clovis did what they had to do, and that was to get out from behind the shadows of their own end zone. It is 2nd and 5 yards to go now for the Cougars. They are on the 6-yard line. The defense is spread. And a short puck into the center and about a yard on the play. Dale Small carried the ball for Clovis. He's been a big gainer.
An excellent running back. Great size and strength. Good speed. Really steadily developing as an NYL football player. Big play here for Clovis West and for Clovis High School. Clovis Cougar backs and receivers at 16, John Larios at quarterback, Kevin Christensen, Dale Small at fullback, Brian Rogers at wide receiver, and Lorenzo Barboza at tight end.
Moving wide on the play that time was here at Campbell, and Campbell does not get enough for a first down, and so Clovis West is held. There you see one of the many signs that adorn the stadium this evening. They will spend a good deal of time in the shops and wherever it is that they put these signs together.
Well, most of them, the temp groups are responsible for them. They work long and hard and long hours to get this thing, stadium looking properly.
Back in punt formation is Todd Barnes, standing back on his own end zone. Here's the kick. It is Barnes at safety who waits for the football and is bouncing around, and it is picked up on the 34-yard line.
Frank, this is a good example of how field position is so important in football. That punt of 73 yards by Grant Harris and the 22-yard punt by Clovis there. There's been an exchange now of about 45 yards just on punt.
So they are 32 yards away from pay dirt. Peterson is calling signal, gets the football, hands it off, and driving is George Ellis, and Ellis bucks away, and he's up to the 25-yard line. The stop was made by Evan Escobedo and Rick Davis.
Here we go on the tape replay, Frank. We've got the fake to Kenny Von Essen, who's been running very well, and then the cross-buck trap to George Ellis, who runs extremely tough.
They're strong on the right side. In this direction, Ken Von Essen is pounding over the right side this time, and he goes up to the 20-yard line. Mark Roof was in there to bring him down, hit him very low, just below the knees. And so now, 20 yards away from pay dirt, Clovis West hopes to make this game closer. There is plenty of time left. We have 7 minutes and 15 seconds of playing time left.
Mike Green's into the game now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little toss again to him on this quick toss.
The center is up over the ball. And over goes Mike Green into the 20-yard line to the 19-yard line, and he's pulled down there by a bevy of tacklers. So he gains a couple on the play. It is now second down and 9 yards. Second and about 8.5, actually.
Those Cougar fans, they're fired up.
You may look at this series of plays after this game is over and say those were the key plays. You never know. Let's see what happens. Peterson looks to his right. Doesn't mean that he's going to run a play to his right. Over the center of the line again goes Mike Green, and Green does not get very much. The Clovis Cougar line now playing it very tough.
Great power football, trying to run off tackle.
They're playing, in a sense, they're playing some of the Cougars game. That hitting in there, but they're up against a little heavier team.
The Eagle offensive line, and there we have a little guy that's enjoying the game with his popcorn and his cola. The Eagle tackles are 250 and 255, so they're pretty big too.
In motion to the right, Peterson whirls around to the left side. He's going to carry this football himself. He is into the 15-yard line. He's finding his way down the sidelines, and he's knocked out of bounds. A good game for Jeff Peterson, all the way to the 6-yard line.
Here we go on a bootleg. We have the man in motion to the right, little fake draw. Jeff Peterson sprinting out to the left, picking up the key first down for the Golden Eagles.
So here's what you come down to, with a total of 5 minutes and 41 seconds of playing time left in this all-important third period. Clovis West has moved now within 9 yards of a touchdown. Peterson gives the ball to Mike Green, and Green tries the right side of the line and cannot get very much. About 1.5 yards when John Papaleos says, "It's as far as you're going, brother." And that's what it is, on the 8-yard line. Look at that Clovis West team. They're back now. You can see that they're driving and they're fighting. And into the ball game comes number 35, Todd.
There you go, Frank. There's a nice picture of us up here enjoying yours truly and Frank Arthur enjoying the action here at La Monica Stadium.
Into the around the outside, going touchdown. It's very close, and he makes it. Jeff Peterson carries it himself around the right side of the line, and he just makes the tie it in. Let's take a look at that one again. Look how happy Peterson is. Hey, boy, he's jumping up and down.
Here we have Jeff Peterson in the power eye set. We're going to make a little power football fake there to the tailback and take it on in for the touchdown. The Eagles are back in this football game, Frank.
Well, it is 13-21, and Matt Harris is in there to try to make it a 14-point. It's up, and it is good. And now with the score, Clovis High School 21, Clovis West 14. We'll be back in just a moment. Here's Kevin Christensen, along with Jeff Johnson. They are back on the 2-yard line and ready to kick this off as Grant Harris. And there are the balloons. Harris comes up and roots it away, and he falls down. The ball is dribbling up the field on the 50-yard line. Clovis recovery. Is it lost again? It's down there on the 45, 35, 37-yard line. It is picked up by Mike Villarreal on the 37-yard line. So at that point, Clovis Cougars will have the football in their own territory, but the field position is a pretty good one. Clovis West now must try to retain their momentum by holding off the Cougars.
Frank, the kicking game was really responsible for that last touchdown with that fabulous 73-yard punt, and then the poor punt by Clovis, giving Clovis West the ball on the 32-yard line.
All right, Clovis Cougars, the man in motion to the right. And there is a handoff and drop behind the line. Mike Todd jumps up for Clovis West and knocks down Kevin Christensen, and that is why he is considered one of the top players in the NYL.
Looks like a different ball club out there now on defense, Frank. The Eagles are playing inspired defense, and looks like momentum's changing a little bit in this football game right now.
You see the spirit, you see them as they break their huddle. I think that Tim Simon certainly can't rest on a 7-point lead, not the way that the Cougars are, the Eagles are battling. There's a pass complete, and breaking loose past the 40-yard line. That time comes Mark Roof, and he is pulled down in the secondary by Mike Reed.
Todd Young's limping around a little bit, Frank, and if that happens, that could be significant.
Okay. It is 3rd and 2 for the Cougars on the 45. So that movement there by Clovis West, and was it Clovis West or did they draw off the Cougars? What do you think, Jim? Do you have anything? It is against Clovis West. So the Cougars get a first down.
Well, just a little over anxious then, Frank. Really, they were stemming into a little bit different defense, and apparently one of them encroached.
There is 3 minutes and 26 seconds to go in the third period, and the score is now 21-14. This is a football game, so hang on to your seats. It is a little breezy here at the stadium, but you can bet your life that not a soul is going to be leaving this stadium, not at this time. The quarterback, John Larius, would like another touchdown. He takes a give and goes back to throw and throws a 35-yard pass that is incomplete, and there's a flag on the play. Brian Rogers was the man for whom that pass was intended, but it was over his head. Now the half might have had its effect on the quarterback, Larius.
Looks like we have a pass interference call. Pretty close call.
Pass interference, and that is a tough break for the Eagles, because Clovis West will get this football now, and you see them marching it down to the 35-yard line. And so at that point, it is now 1st and 10. 3 minutes and 13 seconds to go in this all-important third period. It is 21-14. This is a football game. This is the traditional rivalry game. Clovis Cougars lead Clovis West. But the Clovis West team has the momentum. And now Larius gives the ball off, and breaking loose goes down. Small fumbles the football. It is fallen upon by Jeff Peterson, who was all over the field tonight.
Tough break for the Cougars, Frank. Dale Small had running room, had a chance to make a move on that safety, but elected to try to run over the defensive man.
I think we can watch it again.
Here we go on the tape replay. They're in their end over. It's the inside triple option, giving the ball to Dale Small, trying to run over the safety, and safety's helmet gets part of the ball, and Clovis West gets another turnover. That's the third of the evening.
The ball was picked up by Peterson, and we're back into play with Clovis West in possession of the football on the 15-yard line. Peterson on a give, and bucking the center of the line is Brian Lewis, and he doesn't get very much, about a half a yard, and that is all he gets. So they're still mired deep in the territory of the Clovis West Eagles, the Golden Eagles as they are sometimes called. George Ellis comes back into the football game. And coming out of the game is number 43. And that is Todd Barnes. In motion to the right. Peterson goes back and finds time to pass, and it is complete to Paul Green over on the left side of the field, over on the Clovis Cougar side of the field, and at that point, it's going to be...
Here we go, Frank. I think we'll see on the replay here, we've got a little semi-rollout here. Jeff Peterson going to the tight end. Paul Green, a drag pattern. Coach Newberry loves that play, and he'll go to that in tough situations almost every time.
2 minutes and 2 seconds to go now in the third period. Peterson and Ellis carries the ball. Mike Green carries the ball, and he gets up past the 30-yard line to the 33. So for Clovis West, about 67 yards to go for a touchdown that could tie this football game up.
Again, Frank, the momentum of this game has changed significantly than before the half. Clovis West got a good break. They're taking advantage of it, moving the football.
And Newberry sends in Todd Barnes back into the football game. There's a handoff, and bouncing into the left side of the line this time is Mike Green, and he gets about 1.5 yards or 2 yards and may have picked up the first down. It's very close. They might measure it. It is waved on for a first down. They don't have to measure it, so it is now 1st and 10 for Clovis. They are moving it.
This is just a great football game here tonight. I think we're seeing some of the best high school football around.
And it is almost error-free, Jim. They're doing a very good job of hanging on to the football. And again, 2 flags hit the field, and that play may be called back. It looked like movement.
A little movement, I think, against
It
the
is.
Eagles.
That is right. It is procedure against the Clovis Eagles, and so they will march it back. Here it comes. And so at that point, it is 1st and 15 yards to go for the white-clad Clovis West football team.
It's Norm Williams, the Clovis West trainer.
He had a studied look on his face. Let us see what happens. Man in motion to the right. Back to pass Peterson. He's got plenty of time, but it is incomplete. And down for that ball was Todd Barnes. He was being fouled all the way down by Rick Davis.
Frank, Todd Barnes has got to be one of the shortest football players to play in the NYL.
He certainly is. I guess
5'3" and about 140 pounds, but he's a competitive, tough little player. That's Phil Borges, the defensive coordinator for the Golden Eagles.
And Clovis West coaches employing their team to move that football. I imagine that every time he goes after Barnes, it's a mismatch in the other team's favor. But he'll catch some, I know that. I've seen him catch some in some unusual situations. Now, again, a man in motion to the right. Again, Peterson goes back. The blocking is good, but now they're rushing the passer. And it is a little semi-screen pass down the center of the field and good for a good gain. And it is, they are past the 40 and up to the 43-yard line.
Frank, we're seeing everything here tonight. We're seeing all sorts of different types of screens. We've seen fullback screens. This is a tight end screen to Paul Green. Up the middle, again, taking advantage of the very disciplined Clovis defense who's dropping off to cover their zones underneath.
Sal Lopez made the tackle. He's 210-pounder, 5'9". It is now 3rd down, and it's a very important play. 3rd and about 3.5 yards to go for the Clovis West football team. But Peterson's going big for it, and it is incomplete. This was a key play, and was the intended receiver, but he could not get up high enough to pull that ball down. Well, there is still time. It is not a chaotic loss of the chance to make it 1st and 10. They are going to be punting in fairly decent position, and now going back to kick the ball back in safety, rather, is Mendoza and John Larius. And that is Grant Harris, of course, back in punt formation for Clovis. You see him stand back there just inside the 30-yard line, or just outside the 30-yard line. Bouncing ball, and it takes a Clovis West bounce, a very big Clovis West bounce, and Clovis will down the football on the 11-yard line, and we'll be back with the score 21-14. Clovis High leads. We'll be back with more of the action in just a moment. Okay, this is the period that separates the men from the boys. Very briefly, in case you just happen to dial us at Community Channel 11, Fresno Cable, we are live. We are live and delayed later on in case you catch this at the time that it is not the moment of the game. But right now we are live, and it is 21-14. We are at La Monica Stadium for the Clovis shootout, the game that determines the Clovis City Championship, perhaps may develop the contender for this year's NYL title. Okay, Clovis Cougars have the football. John Larius decides to keep it himself. He finds some running room. The hole opens up, and he's going to be pinched in, but not after he makes a couple of yards to about the 19-yard line. Dino Lawson gets up there to whip him down, and with 11:45 to go in this football game.
Frank, that was the second phase of the triple option. That time he pulled the ball out of Dale Small and chose to exercise his option on the defensive end. Nice game, John Larios.
And the important thing as far as the Clovis Cougars are concerned is the fact that they are not losing the football as they did the other night. They're hanging on to it, and this is the difference. If they lost the football now, it could be chaotic. It could be a tie ball game. Larius has it himself. He's going to be caught. No, yes, he is caught just as he tried to break loose for what looked like it was going to be a good game. It was Johnny Martin who caught him just on the shoelaces and knocked him down.
Frank, that was a great play because John Larios had lots of room out on the perimeter there, and John Martin got him from the backside.
I thought he caught a shoelace, and maybe he did. Well, they're going to have to measure. It is a possible first down, and this could be a very big first down for the Cougars. And they are short by about a loaf of bread. Whole wheat. They are short. They are on the 31-yard line. It is a third down, and so they're not going to kick. That's for sure. They're going to pick up this half a yard if they possibly can, or less than a half a yard. Now, what do you think they're going to do? Is it going to be quarterback sneak? Let's watch.
The big fullback.
The logical thing. They gave it to Small, and Dale socked in there for the yard or so. That means they get a first down, and they're moving the yardsticks. And there he is, Dale Small, feeling pretty good about the whole thing. You can't blame him. A little nip in the air right now.
It's a little chilly, Frank. Still a great evening for football.
Glad to see that you have your thermal underneath your shirt and your tie. Okay, here we go. Larius is going to be in trouble back there. He's going to be shellacked, and down he goes. Back on the 24-yard line.
That was almost disastrous for Clovis High School. Clovis West had penetration into the wishbone mesh there that almost caused another fumble. John Larios made an excellent reaction and actually scrambled back to the line of scrimmage, Frank.
I don't think that Tim Simons is going to be giving out any instructions to throw that ball to you. Is he going to try to hang on with a ground attack?
I don't think that you'll see Coach Simons just try and hang on. I think he knows that he's into a ball game here, and he's going to use all the guns that he has.
But probably will pass if he gets up a little farther. Right now they're using, again, Small's power, and he drives in, but there's a flag on the play, and it could be a very critical flag.
You want to get the ball out and get a little bit better field position. And
I agree with you.
now we're into a situation where we have another penalty.
And here's what Max Newberry is happy about, because it's a penalty and it's going to be marked off against Clovis Cougars. The blue and gold, who have lost only one football game this season. And that to Edison.
Well, Frank, this game is particularly gratifying to me to watch, to see the coaches, the way they've conceptualized their game plans, the way they're attacking each other. Tim Simons and Max Newberry have to be two of the outstanding coaches in the area.
I have made numerous errors in this broadcast, but when you call him Max Newberry, I think we're even.
That's called a Fugmanism.
Okay. It is on the 11-yard line now. Clovis, 14-21. The Cougars lead, and they have the football, but they are mired deep in their own territory, and Clovis West is in a moderately enviable position right now. Can they hold the Cougars on this down? It is 2nd and 22. Well, they've got some room to be able to work defensively. Now Larius is moving around. He throws a pass to the man that is clear on the right flat, and racing up the field comes Brian Rogers, and he comes all the way up to the 42-yard line, 43-yard line.
Frank, you're going to see a great athlete here. John Larios, he's back to pass. He's going to get pressure. He's going to scramble around here and run around. Man's going to come up. He spots Brian Rogers, who does a good job of getting open, picking up a key first down for the Cougars.
Okay, they're on the 45 in their own territory. Balanced line. They give it a small and take it away, so Larius finds running room and comes charging through in between tacklers and goes up for what looks to be a first down. John Larius moved his hips, found an opening between two defensive tacklers, and moved up for what is important to them, a drive upfield to hold the football and perhaps to thwart whatever ideas Clovis West had of scoring that third touchdown to tie it up.
That pass by John Larios, Frank, was a big play for Clovis that really is going to enable them to have field position, excellent field position for the rest of this game. If they would have had to punt at that particular time, Clovis West would have had the advantage in field position the rest of this game.
But there was a penalty that is being marked off for procedure. So Clovis West again feels that they can stop the Cougar drive, and they must hang on to Larius. They must outsmart him. They must anticipate where he's coming from. This is the problem. To hold a guy like Larius is liable to do any one of a number of things with that football, including to give them a hip and take it away. He does it now. He does not give it to Small. He goes back. Did he lose that football? A long pass, and it is incomplete. Mark Ruth was within inches of getting that football and landing somewhere along the 10-yard line.
Another mix-up in the secondary. We have a man, again, in the open, and Clovis West was very fortunate that that pass wasn't complete.
We have some third-quarter stats that are interesting. In first down, Clovis West had 12, and Clovis High School had 14. In those downs, 26 rushes for Clovis West, 33 for Clovis High, and of the 26 carries by Clovis West, 148 yards. Let's watch play. Back with that football, Larius is being chased by two Clovis West players. He throws out to the flat, and no gain on the play.
Todd Young, the outstanding Eagle linebacker, really made a major league play on that, Frank. He destroyed two blockers and made the tackle.
It looked to me like there was...
Here we go on the tape replay. The Cougars successful earlier, running the screen, coming back, throwing the screen over to Kevin Christensen. Watch Todd Young fight off the blocker and make the tackle. Excellent play.
There was a screen play, obviously, but there was no screen when the play developed.
Linemen were a little bit late getting out there, Frank.
8 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the final period. 14-21. Clovis West trails the Clovis Cougars. In the shootout at Clovis' La Monica Stadium. Hey, Larius goes back. Watch out, Larius. He gets away. He's bumped. He's hit. He stays on his feet. And he's finally knocked out. Tough kid to bring down. Tim Lozella was the man who put him away. But Clovis West has done what they had to do. They held off Clovis after the break of the penalty. The score is 21-14. Clovis High School has the football, and they will go back in punt formation. And that is Todd Barnes. There's the kick. Barnes waiting for that football. He's back in safety, gets it on the 30. He's going wide. He gets away from one would-be tackler, and he spills on the 26-yard line. Okay, again, the score is Clovis High School 21, Clovis West 14. This exclusive cable cast of the Clovis Cougars and Clovis West Eagles football is being brought to you in part by the Clovis Horse Merchants and Herb Bauer. First, Brian Lewis. But in a second down play, John Papaleo has stripped the ball. A fumble by Clovis West, and the Cougars recover on the 30-yard line.
Big break for the Cougars. Let's see if they can take advantage. Time is beginning to be a factor now in this football game, Frank, with 6:57 left.
Well, there were two plays. One was of no gain. The second was a gain of 3 or 4 yards, but the game turned into a disastrous moment because they lost the football. The Cougars almost lost it that time. Larius had the football. It rolled up his fingers again, but pounding ahead for the gain was apparently Dale Small, and he gained up to the 25-yard line. So there were inches of which this game could hinge on. The loss of a fumble, the loss almost of a fumble by the leading Cougars. It is on the 25-yard line. Christensen bangs over the 20-yard line, and he's going to get some good yardage that time. He goes to the 19, and Darren Learley, who's playing the monster position, makes the stop on the 19-yard line.
Clovis West, Frank, needs to stiffen right now if they ain't going to have any chance of getting into this ball game. They need to stop the Cougars in these next series. Clovis really doesn't have an outstanding field goal kicker. The Cougars are going to probably have to punch it on in to get another score.
Let's watch Larius now as he gives the ball away, and driving over the left side of the line is Todd Young to make the stop on the play as he moved over to stop the hold, break up the play, and pull down the ball carrier, Dale Small. Dale Small is a workman. He just has been carrying that ball every other down, I think.
He's the first part of that triple option. If he gets the read, he'll give the ball to Small.
What did you say was averaging? Something like 6 points something.
7.6 yards per carry.
7.6. That is something else. Clovis West not fearing the pass at this moment defensively. They expect a run. Larius hands it off again. Small is getting, Christensen is getting loose around the right side, and he fights his way up to the 15-yard line. George Ellis makes the stop. Kevin Christensen carried the football. And they are that much closer. They are on the 10-yard line. 4 minutes and 54 seconds of playing time left. And Clovis now will work the clock a little bit. They'll take their time. They'll put the ball in play at the last possible moment.
They're in 4-down territory now. He's going to take 2 good cracks at this 3rd and short. The Eagles are in trouble, and they need a big play on defense.
Catch the offensive pattern. The receivers are wide now. What do? It looks like a shotgun. It's not going to be a shotgun. They don't use it. Small carries the ball straight ahead, and he's going to break loose as he dropped the football. He goes to the 1. Does he go over? He does. It looks like a touchdown. I thought I saw the referee cross his hands. I'm not sure whether he made the touchdown or not.
Frank, one official signaled touchdown. The other linesman signaled no touchdown.
Yeah.
Running a counter dive to Brian Christensen. That was a very, very tough run by a very fine running back.
So it is on the goal line.
Cougars are threatening to put this game away now.
There was a move by one of the officials. It looked like one of his hands went up. The other one was about to run it, and suddenly he saw the other official cross his hands, and so there was no touchdown. We're on the half-yard line. Larius, will he go over? He squeezes over, and I think he's hit it. He does. Touchdown for John Larius, and Clovis, who had some anxious moments in the 3rd and especially in this 4th quarter, have now jumped out to a 27-14 lead. And the Cannons break loose and across the way, the Clovis rooting section in jubilation. Look at them go. A happy town in the old town tonight, and now back for the attempt at the conversion is Kuntz. He'll kick it left-footed. It was almost a high pass from center. It is up in the air, and it is good. The score, Clovis High School 28, Clovis West 14. We'll be back with the action in just a moment. Okay, with 4 minutes and 7 seconds left in this football game, you are back with Community Channel 11. My name is Frank Arthur, alongside of Jim Fugman. And this has been play-by-play live, and with a special segment of 2 broadcasts delayed. One right after this game is over, the second one on Sunday at 5 o'clock. Okay, there is a long kick to Brian Lewis. He takes it on the 5 and starts up near the sidelines and gets up past the 20. Ooh, is he spilled?
Don't think there's going to be any secret what Clovis West has to do. They're going to have to come out gunning and hope they can get a quick score.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Clovis West. They have 4 minutes and 2 seconds to score 2 touchdowns. It is not impossible, but I think you might call it very, very difficult. But hang with us. You never know. In football, a pass or two, and it can all turn around. Now we have our wide receivers very wide. The line is strong to the right, and Jeff Peterson goes back to give it a throw. He goes down the center, and it is incomplete. Off the fingertips of Mike Green, and there was a man right behind him who could have picked it off had he been up about a half a yard closer. John Papaleo was instrumental in killing that play. Look at the Clovis section. They're up now, jumping. They sense victory.
This tape replay, Jeff Peterson throws this ball just about as well as you possibly can do. It's a turn into his flanker, Mike Green. He puts that ball right on the money, and Mike Green loses his concentration and drops the football.
All right. Now, Peterson has got to put it in the air again. Everybody in the stadium knows that he has the time to throw it, and he does, and it is complete over to Brian Lewis over on the right flat, and it's at the 32-yard line, and it's a gain on the play of about 3 yards on the... It is now 3rd down and about 3 yards to go. 3 minutes and 25 seconds left in this football game. It's still the balloons wave in the breeze, and this crowd does not leave the stadium. Very, very few people are leaving. In motion to the right. Carrying that football comes Peterson himself, and he goes up past the 40-yard line of the 42 and goes out of bounds. So there is a flag on the play, and it is clipping against Clovis West. You know, Jim, Peterson has played a good offensive football game. He had a good percentage of his passes caught, but he is playing an even better defensive game.
Playing a great game defensively. He's a great athlete. He's a fine competitor, and hate to see a clipping penalty like that, especially in light of the fact that it was behind the ball, and there's really no reason to block or attempt to block when the ball is in front of you. It's just not very smart football, Frank.
It'll be 1st down and 11 yards to go for the Clovis Eagles, and they are deep in their own territory. Should they lose tonight, and they are on the verge of it, Clovis West would have lost their 3rd game. Should they win, and they are on the verge of it, the Clovis Cougars will have won another football game. They have lost only one this season, and they have a chance for it all, depending, of course, what happens in the last 2 games of the season. Now, there we have Peterson. He has come over to talk to whom, Jim?
Jeff Peterson and Coach Newberry are talking about some late game strategy here, and trying to pick up this crucial 3rd and 11 1st down, Frank. You've got something in the playbook. This is the time to find it.
You don't have too many options. But it has been a good, hard-fought football game. Make no mistake about that. And the pageantry, just 4 stars, I think, from all of us here.
I'll comment on the fact also that John Larios has played a whale of a game on defense as well. Several fine hard tackles and almost blanket coverage of the Clovis West receivers. Well, we're coming down to a kind of a fitting climax of a very great evening, Frank, between 2 very well-coached teams and 2 great schools, and it's just been a terrific football game.
All right, Peterson surveys his field. He finds the linebackers up pretty close in. He goes back to throw and lets it fly. and it's going to be too far for anybody in the ballpark. It is an incomplete forward pass. We're down to 2:59. And this will be third down and 11 yards to go. So it might just be that does he not connect for 11 yards on this play, that Clovis will have the football and will ground out the clock.
Looks like the Eagles are going to have to go for it here. It's fourth down. They're behind. They're not going to punt. They're going to see if they can pick up a first down.
Now, you know, normally you'd think that Clovis would go back very deep to prevent anybody, but of course they're concerned about a first down too in this instance. So they're playing it easy, and we'll look at all possibilities. They're moving now back and forth a little. Peterson is going back. The only place he can go, he finds a safety valve on the side, and it's going to be a run and coming wide around the right side with everybody chasing him. And they are held and knocked off, and the play went to Mike Green, who went loose around the right side after a short pass behind the line, and he was knocked down. And Clovis West has a 4th and 11 yards to go, and there is celebration now among the blue-clad Clovis football players themselves. They feel that it is all over, but there is still, of course, 2 minutes and 57 seconds of playing time left. The Cougars come up. It was a 4th down play. Let me correct that. It is now 1st and 10 for Clovis, and that is why, of course, the celebration. Larry Sands there gives it away, and they don't seem to care at this moment whether or not a gain is made. Simply run down the clock. It is 2:39. Eric Clark is in there at quarterback now. Eric Clark.
Frank, Coach Simons has his second team in here now. He's going to let everybody a chance to play in this football game. Game's in hand, and he's not looking at all to trying to run this score up.
This is NYL football, and it has been an exciting season. And punching into the line is Huey. And he goes up to the 24-yard line. But there is a penalty flag on the play. And Huey carried that football for a short gain. A timeout has been called. The flag is still on the field, but they have not marched off any infraction as yet. Now here he comes. This would seem to be, Jim, the kind of a football game that it would be somewhat difficult to select the most valuable players.
Well, there's no question about that. There's been so many great players on both sides of the football tonight. Certainly, John Larios is going to have to get strong consideration. Kevin Christensen, as well as Jeff Peterson and Todd Young for the Golden Eagles.
Let's see what Clark does in this situation now. He is on the 32-yard line, and he hands the ball away, and it's a short gain of a couple of yards. Jeff Johnson was given the football, and Jeff went charging ahead. The Clovis West team met him. It's 1 minute and 49 seconds to go. With the score, Clovis High 28, Clovis West 14. Let us pause for this message. Okay, you see the scoreboard. It is 1 minute and 49 seconds of playing time left. Third down, 11 yards to go for the Clovis Cougars. And they have the second string in there, and you can tell that if you just walked into the stadium because they're brand new white uniforms, or white and blue uniforms without a spot on them now. The ball is given away and breaking loose to the 15-yard line goes number 22, and that is Mike Valeria. No, it is Jeff Johnson who carried the football. Jeff Johnson carried the football, and he has made good yardage, and now Clovis is once more within scoring distance.
Here on the tape replay, we have the double tight end formation here, and we're going to see an inside belly play with Jeff Johnson. A nice block by the tackles, Craig Large, and Johnson swarming through there for a first down.
Eric Clark behind the center gets the football and gives it away, and moving very hard up the left side of the field. Jeff Johnson has picked up yardage and may come up to the first down within about a half a yard or so. There's Clovis West. Darren Learley was in on that tackle. It is on the 11-yard line. Second down and 4 yards to go as this game is winding down. We're in the closing seconds. We're under a minute. There are 53 seconds of playing time left, and the big shootout it'll be sports history. There is a short gain of about 4 yards on the play. Jeff Johnson again, the carrier. There is a timeout. Referee's timeout, and there is a measurement on the play. Some of the crowd is just now beginning to leave, of course, realizing that this football game is over. It was over about 2 minutes ago.
It's been a very interesting game. Both teams have played very, very hard. There's been some breaks. There's been some mistakes. But generally speaking, this has been a fine high school football game. And Clovis High is on top, played very well. But let's take our hats off to Clovis West as well, Frank.
Eric Clark. And a touchdown. And again, it looked to be Jeff Johnson, who's been the playmaker. And he has made the touchdown. It is now waved on officially, and so the score mounts. Dino Lawson recovered the ball over the end zone for the touchdown. So it is not Johnson who gets credit for the score.
Clovis West, Frank, recovered that fumble in the end zone, so they'll bring the ball out to the 20, and I believe that's Clovis High's fourth fumble.
So the score does not mount. It is 28-14. It remains with only 16 seconds of playing time remaining. He must have fumbled that ball just as he came up to the line, just as he came up to the goal line.
Struggling to get into that end zone, and so often that's what happens.
Well, Peterson is still in the football game, and there is a lateral coming off a forward pass, which winds up in the arms of George Ellis, and Ellis is going down on the 30-yard line.
The old flea flicker there, Frank, and got the clock stopped with 6 seconds. And here we go on the tape replay. We've got a little turn-in pattern here to Barnes, and lateraling the ball to George Ellis, and almost breaks it, but not quite enough. Got time for one more play, and this 1982 football game, the Clovis West Clovis shootout, is going to go into the history book, Frank.
Well, it could have swung either way earlier in the game, in about the third quarter or so.
Hello, Mom and Dad.
Clovis West made it very close, and I don't think they're too far off the board as far as stats are concerned.
Not at all, not at all. Clovis High came out like a house of fire and really established a fine running game and an option offense. And the second half, Clovis West has battled back and got within striking distance, and really a break enabled Clovis West to get that fourth touchdown on the board.
Well, they broke the huddle and then went back into it. Apparently, well, it should be penalized, I would think, for too much time. And yet, I guess it's simply a timeout that was charged against them. The last play of the football game. And that is Phil Peterson. Been out there all day long, and here's a long, long pass, and it is over everybody's head, and with 1 second to go, the ball is incomplete, and so we have to have one more play, I am sure, with 1 second left to go. We are at the last play of the game. Of that, there is no doubt. And we may be able to give you some late stats. It depends on whether or not we are still on the air when those stats have been compiled.
You see Dr. Peter G. Mayes and Dr. Floyd B. Buchanan going down now and preparing to make the various individual awards and the Range Rider Trophy presentation to
Peterson is going to be hit, but he gets away. There's a flag on the play. He's running down the sidelines. He is at the 40-yard line. He is dropped and knocked out of bounds on the 45. The gun is not sounded simply because there was a flag on the play. It is against Clovis West. But the game is now over, considered over, called over by the officials. It is a final score of Clovis High School 28, Clovis West 14. The Cougars had just too much tonight. Too much. Well, Jim, they're serenading or congratulating or shaking each other's hands. What is that is happening out there?
Well, I think they're playing the alma mater now. The Cougars are playing their alma mater, and so are the Eagles. And the players in the NYL this year traditionally are lining up for the handshake that was kind of popularized in hockey, actually, in the Olympics, the final handshake. I think it's a great act of sportsmanship. You can see a very intensely fierce, competitive game. These kids have competed against each other for a long time. A lot of good sports, and too bad in situations like that, there's got to be a loser. But tonight, the Cougars are victorious, a hard-fought, well-earned victory for Coach Simons and his coaching staff.
You know, considering that those two main factors, and we've talked about this 3 or 4 times, the weight factor, Clovis outweighed the team from Clovis West, and the even probably more important aspect of it, the majority of seniors were those of Clovis.
This is an experienced Cougar football team. They've been kind of misfiring this year, and they have not been consistent. Tonight, they put it all together. They threw the ball well. They executed the option well. And more importantly, tonight, they played with what I call consistent intensity throughout the game.
Well, I guess that just about tells the story. Again, the final score.
Frank, we have the presentation now for the most valuable defensive player in the game, and it goes to Clovis West, Jeff Peterson, winning the most valuable defensive player. He's receiving congratulations from Dr. Peter G. Mias and Dwayne Barker, the Director of Public Information. Right now, I think we're getting ready to make the presentation for the outstanding offensive player. That will go to senior quarterback John Larios. I might add, too, that I had the privilege of hosting both of these students. Let's listen to Dr. Mears.
And now, Dr. E. Cannon, along with Art Pepperzett, the artist of this Range Rider Award, symbolic of the Clovis Week victory football game. The Coach Simon and the Clovis High Cougars.
Range Rider Award now symbolic of given to the winner of the game. This is a beautiful, beautiful trophy. It's made out of solid bronze, and I'll tell you, it's a real struggle to hold that trophy up. Coach Simon's now being hoisted up by his jubilant and victorious Cougars, and it's a job well earned. They've worked very, very hard for this, Frank, I know, all week, and their preparation has paid off for them this year.
And there's still perhaps an NYL championship in the offing, and they have a couple of more games to play.
There's no question about that. They have 2 tough games to play. The Clovis Cougars, they need to play Madera, of course, and Clovis West still has Sanger to play.
And so, with the score 28-14, let us stand by for just a moment and these messages. Again, the final score, Clovis High 28, Clovis West 14. The night has been an exciting one, when it seemed as if Clovis High School might be caught by the surging passes of Jeff Peterson and the running of the Clovis West offensive team.
Well, it was a tremendously hard-fought game, and we saw the Cougars come out with their wishbone offense and multiple formations tonight, running a lot of motion, causing some confusion early in the Clovis West defense. We saw Clovis West adjust very nicely, get themselves back into the game, move the ball very well offensively, and I can't say enough about the coaching staffs of both schools. I know they've worked very, very hard, not only for this game, but all during the year, and their teams are always very well. Both Max Newberry's teams and Tim Simon's teams are always very well prepared to play very tough football.
Yeah, Jim, I can't forget what Tim had told me the other day at practice. He said, I said to him, well, after, you've had the multiple option and multiple offense going, and the wishbone and the veer, if you wish to call it that at times, and it's been a few years now, and you were very successful when you brought it in, and now aren't they catching up with you? Haven't they seen it quite a bit enough to be able to defense it? And he said, no. He said, we have a lot of confidence in it. He says, we know that if we execute it well, we will win. And that's what they did tonight. They executed the veer, executed the wishbone, if you wish, and they did it well.
Few little wrinkles, Frank, and Coach Simon spends a lot of time each year at Auburn and Alabama, and you can definitely see the influence of those visitations in his team tonight. The Cougars of the past have been predominantly a full house wishbone team. Tonight, you saw multiple sets, wing formations, unbalanced lines, end-overs. You saw the full gamut of wishbone football that's really been popularized by Bear Bryant at Alabama.
And you saw the big balloons, and you saw the great bands. And let's now listen to this message, and we'll be right back.